Hi everyone, this is Yannick from The Big Bounce Theory, and today we're going to talk about the 10 best bounce house safety tips. Here's a quote before we start. Never follow anyone else's path unless you're in the woods and you're lost and you see a path, then by all means follow that path. It's always great to have fun on a bounce castle, but you have to put safety first. That's why today we're going to talk about the 10 best bounce house safety tips. So number 1, never slide down face first. There's many reasons as to why you don't want to slide down face first. I would say the main reason though is because when you go down the slide, there's usually a wall at the end of it, and if it's a dry slide especially, it's not as far away as a water slide would be, and therefore you can easily break your neck going down this slide, and this is not something that you want at any events. And there's also the other reason is because you're just gonna burn your face once you hit once you hit the bottom. You're gonna get face first onto the vinyl, and then this is really gonna burn your chin, your nose, cheeks, and everything, and it's not fun at all. Tip number 2, never climb on the outside walls. Why? That sounds fun, right? Yeah, well, it's very dangerous because you can fall on either side of the bounce castle. 50% chance you're gonna fall on something that's inflated, but 50% of chances that you're gonna fall on the ground, and it hurts. It does. I know that, I've seen it, and it's really not fun to see. And of course, it's a party pooper for everyone. I never see someone enjoying falling down on hard ground, and also it can be at pretty high heights, which can be dangerous, and it can break your neck, it can break a leg, it can break anything. It's very, very simple to break something on your body because it's so soft, right? Second reason why we don't want you to do this is because our equipment, we take care of it, and we don't want any damages to be done to the inflatables. They're not made to be sitting on the sidewalls. As attracting it is not made for that. It is not a seat for you to supervise your friend going up or down the slide. It's not made for that at all. It's just safety so that you don't fall out of the bounce castle. So please don't use it as a seat or as a pillow to sit there or whatnot. Tip number 3, never go in with shoes on. Why? Right? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Well, there's many reasons for this. First of all, it's because you can easily damage a bounce castle. You wouldn't know that, but there could be a little rock stuck under your shoe, and as you jump, it's just gonna poke a hole in it, and that easily it can literally create a rip about a foot long, just little needle that goes in, and you jump right on the right spot. It's gonna open the whole inflatable up, and you can literally fall into the unit and break a leg, break an ankle, whatever it is. It's very dangerous. And also, if it does rain and you have shoes on, it's so slippery. First of all, we don't want you in there if it rains, but if there were to have any water in it for some reason and you had shoes on, it becomes a slip and slide. And this is the last thing that you want to do is break an ankle, break a foot, or even, again, break your neck, because you can fall backward, fall weirdly, and that's it, that's done, right? It can be that easy. And also, it just creates a lot of dirt in the inflatables for no reason. It's always most recommended to bounce either in socks or naked feet. That's the best way to do it. And also for us, it's the easiest way to clean it because, it's just normal wear and tear if you want. So you pass them up in there, some products, and then you're good to go. But with shoes, you can have dirt, you can have sand, you can have rock, you can have so much things going on with shoes, and it's not what we want. So, tip number 4, make sure it's always staked to the ground. This is on us. If you see that our inflatables have no stakes on, you should let us know as soon as possible, because this is a pretty major safety issue. If there's any wind gust coming, this can be very, very tragic in an instant. And this is not what we're looking for. We look at having our staff doing the work that they're supposed to do. And if they're not doing it, we need to be made aware as soon as possible so we can fix this issue and make sure that everybody is safe in the bounce castle at all time. Even if it's a super nice sunny day and there's no wind at all, you never know what could happen and what could go wrong, just as much as going up the slide. But if you have 6 or 7 kids at the top of the slide, and for some reason they think it's fun to try and tip the bouncy castle, well, there you go. You can have a pretty big tragedy happening right there, and they can get stuck in the castle, they can injure themselves. This is really not a good idea. So if you ever see our inflatables with no stakes on, please give us a call at 780-993-7569. More happy than coming back and make sure that everything is safe to operate. Tip number 5, take down if it's too windy. This is very important and it's a crucial step in making sure that every kid and adults are safe at an event. If the wind is too strong, you must take down. You must stop the blower, open all zippers and all tubes, and make sure that it goes down very fast, because the wind does not excuse itself and it will blow away, and this will create a tragedy because it basically becomes a hot air balloon and it can go far. I've actually seen one of my units blow away about 250 feet, and luckily there was a big row of trees that were about 100 feet high, and the castle was stuck about halfway into the trees there, because the customer, and it was fully staked down as well. We had all the stakes were basically like that, an L shape, because they were all bent. So even with stakes on, that's how you know that, your bouncy castle is not safe in this kind of temperature. So you must take down as soon as possible. Like I said, luckily we were able to take it down because there was a row of trees there. So we just had to shake the tree a little bit and it just ended up falling. And of course this unit was damaged. And it's not something that you want to get to when you go pick up a bouncy castle. It's just very big safety issue, and it's just not fun. And also, why would you keep playing in a bouncy castle if it's super windy? Usually if it's windy, there's usually a storm coming in as well. So you want to be prepared for that. Not just the bouncy castle, but any tents that you might have there, chairs, tables, anything that could be flying away. You want to remove those from the outside area to make sure that when the storm does come in, it is safe for everyone. Tip number 6, never exceed the weight limit. This is very important to remember. All bouncy castle max weight limit is 500 pounds, and it must be respected very, very well, because if you don't, the bouncy castle can literally blow up. Think of a balloon. If you jump on a balloon, obviously you're too heavy for a balloon, right? So it's gonna blow up. It's the same thing that will happen with a bouncy castle, except it's on a larger scale. It's like a giant balloon that explodes. It's very dangerous because you don't know from where this balloon will explode. As much as a bouncy castle technology is made that the air can escape the unit, if there's too much weight on the unit at the same time, that's when it just can't release enough air at the same time, like all at once. And that's what causes the unit to blow up. This has actually happened twice to us for some event that we were not supervising at, so backyard rentals. And we came back, and luckily the inflatable had blown up from the back side of the unit, but it's still very scary. It could have blown right in the middle of the bouncing area, and that could literally send a kid flying out. Like, there's lots of pressure because otherwise it would have blown up, right? So you really want to make sure that you always keep it at under 500 pound weight limit. And some of our units also have a 300 pound weight limit, so make sure that you keep an eye on this at the time of booking. We mentioned this very clearly on our website for every single unit for what's the weight limit. So please be cautious of this at time of booking. Tip number 7, never use in the rain. There's many reasons why. The main one though is it is super slippery and it's very dangerous. A slide, that's okay. If it's a water slide, you're sliding down, you're not bouncing on it. But bouncing area, it's very slippery. Imagine if you're in a school and then they just mop the floor and they put that little stand there saying slippery floor, right? It's just as slippery as that. So it's like if you go bounce on something that's uneven, but it's just as slippery as that. It's so dangerous. You're gonna break an ankle. You can easily break your neck. There's just so many things that can go wrong. It's very, very not good to jump while there's rain. Light rain could be okay if it's a hot day because it will dry within seconds of hitting the bounce house. But if it gets a bit heavier rain, this is very dangerous and massive safety. And reason number 2 is because their units, they're obviously made, like I spoke in the tip number 6, is that the air can escape the unit, right? So that the air can go out and everything. And that's the same concept with the rain. If the air can escape, the rain can go in. So if you leave a bouncy castle open in heavy rain, or just any kind of rain, the water will eventually get inside of the inflatable, and that will basically flood the unit. And that's somewhere that you and I can't access. It's impossible to get there, right? It's the air that's there, and that's it, and it's made for that reason. So if the rain gets there, any kind of water gets there, the unit can weigh up to 5,000 pounds. If you leave it there for a long enough amount of time, and if it rained a lot, this thing will have to stay there for weeks until the water can evaporate, because there's not 5 ways to do it. It's literally you just leave it up, keep it blown up, hope the water evaporates over time. But also what can result from that is mold. And again, you can't access the inside of the inflatables. So if there's mold that starts in the unit, this unit is dangerous for not just kids, but everyone that's around Bouncy Castle, right? So we want to avoid this at all costs. So that's why that when it rains, we want the unit to be folded in half all the time, no exception, in half. And then the bottom of the unit is okay if it's in the rain, because this is sealed, it's properly sealed. The floor of the unit is sealed, but anything that's inside of the unit, this is not sealed. It's made for the air to escape. So you want to make sure you fold it in half like a sandwich, make sure everything is tucked in, you don't see anything from the inside. And then when the rain stops, you can just put the blower right back on, keep enjoying, and it's still dry. So tip number 8, always have parental supervision on site. This is very important, especially if it's a backyard party. You think that your kids are safe because they're in your backyard and they're having fun while you're having a drink with your friends inside the house. But that's usually when the most injuries happens. Why? Because kids think that they're invincible and they're gonna start doing crazy stuff while parents don't watch them. So you always wanna have at least one adult that can keep an eye on them and make sure that they're playing safe and they're still having fun. Another reason as well is if there's any change in the weather, if you're not keeping an eye on your kids or outside and you're just hanging out with your friends inside, you won't be able to know if there's a wind gust that comes in or even some rain that's coming in, thunderstorm, anything like this. So that's why you want to stay close to the Bouncy Castle at all time. You want to make sure that it's safe for everyone to enjoy it as much as it's safe for everyone to enjoy any activities that are outdoor at your event. For any large event, such as public event, corporate events and such, we always ask the client at the time of booking if they have planned supervision. And we're one of the only company in Edmonton that offers a large amount of staff supervision for all of our inflatables. Like this year, we just did an event with 40 staff on site. And the client literally told us that they came with us because we were able to have that many staff to supervise the inflatables. So it's a big headache that clients don't have to deal with. And I think that's what makes people happy with it. And for us, it's easy for us to basically have 40 staff on site because we always have events with lots of staff. So it's very easy and we can be sure that they're going to be on site because we know that they're punctual, otherwise we wouldn't keep them in our company. Tip number 9, never use water on a dry slide. There's multiple reasons for this. The main one, I will mention 2 of them, but the main one is because the dry slide doesn't have a long enough landing pad at the end that you can slow down without hitting the bumper at the end. So if you put water on the unit and you actually use it as a water slide when it should be a dry slide, you're gonna hit the bumper so hard that it can cause a lot of damages to your own body, but you can also get right past it and just jump right in the air and fall on the ground, which again, you can break a lot of bones that way. So this is very, very not recommended. Well, not recommended, it's actually prohibited to do this because it is not made for that. It's made to be dry and it must remain dry. And the second reason, we mentioned this earlier, is because the dry slide are not made to have water. So that means that the seals are not heated seals, they're just normal seal, which the water can infiltrate into the unit and it can flood the unit over time, and that cause a lot of damages such as extra weight, unable to move the unit at the end of your event. So it could sit there on your grass for 2 weeks and burn your whole grass. That simple, right? It's just not made to be wet. Please don't use it wet. Tip number 10, the final tip is always book a unit that is for the recommended age and not older or younger. A lot of people come back to us and ask us if this is the right age group, and we always have to clarify, because if you book something that's too big for someone too young, they may not even be able to get to the top of the slide, or they may not even be able to get through the obstacles or in the bouncing area and whatnot. So you want to make sure that when you book a unit, you know the age group that it is made for. Most of our small obstacle courses usually have a recommended age group from about 5 up to adult age. And we also have some of our smaller units, the smaller combos, which can be from 1 up to 5, 6, 7 years old. Please just keep an eye on the website when you book. Look for those descriptions and tips that's on the website. It's there for that. Make good use of it, and so that way we can make sure that you enjoy your event, you're happy with what you book, and we hope to see you next year. Thank you for watching, everyone. This is Yannick from The Big Bounce Theory, and we'll see you next time.